Something really crazy happened last year. It was a weekend, and I went out to a couple of bars with some friends. We were in the city and started the night at a restaurant before going to one bar and then another. Each place that we went was very busy with it being a weekend. People were pretty much everywhere. The last bar of the night that we were at, we arrived at probably about 11 o'clock or so. I was with my friends hanging out and drinking. After being there for about an hour or so, I remember that I was standing kind of near the bar and my friends. That's when a man approached me from the side. He came right up to me and said that he had to talk to me. The guy seemed angry, but I didn't know why. I asked him what was up. Instead of talking to me though, the guy actually shoved me. I was really confused. The guy didn't seem like just some random angry drunk shoving me for no reason. He seemed to have a legitimate problem with me. I asked him what his problem was, but the guy just started cursing at me and walking towards me again. This time, I wanted to fight him, and I took a step towards him. However, my friends saw this and stepped in. They stopped the man and me from reaching each other. The man ended up turning around and walking away to another part of the bar. My friends asked me what that was all about, and I told them that I had no idea. I did not know who the man was or why he was seemingly so angry at me. He had said he needed to talk to me, but apparently he just wanted to fight for some reason. I looked around but no longer saw the man and figured that he left. So I went back to hanging out with my friends near the bar area. Another hour or so went by, and we still didn't see the man or anything. We then decided to leave. My friends and I walked out of the bar, and we sort of split up at that point. There were 5 of us, and 3 of my friends took an Uber together. My other friend walked back to his apartment downtown because it was pretty close by. I lived the other direction, so I was going to get a different Uber. After leaving the bar, I waited with my friends for them to get their Uber, and then I ordered one as well. Theirs came before mine, and when they left, I noticed that the guy who tried to fight me earlier was outside. He was standing on the sidewalk to the left of me, about 50 feet away. I'm not sure if he had been there and I hadn't noticed because of my friends, or if he had just got there. Either way, he was here now, and just after I noticed him, he started walking over to me. I didn't want to fight this guy, and I just wanted to go home, so I turned and started walking away. After a few moments, I looked back and saw the guy walking after me, and he was walking extremely fast. So then I just started to run. I took off and sprinted down the sidewalk away from him. He started to run after me. However, I was much faster than him, it appeared. I continued to run, and I soon made it several blocks away. I could barely see the guy. I turned again and kept running until I lost him completely. Then I finally stopped, caught my breath, and called another ride home. I wouldn't be able to take the other Uber that I had ordered previously. I was left extremely confused about the whole thing, and I'm still confused. I think that maybe the guy got me confused with somebody else, and he must have been really mad at this person, whoever he thought I was, because I can't really think of any reason why he would be angry at me. This is something that happened back when I was in college. I was a senior at the university, and like most college kids, my friends and I liked to go out to the bars on weekends. I lived in a house with 3 other girls, and we were all good friends. On one particular weekend, I had a lot of studying to do, and I was not going to be going out, but all 3 of my roommates were. They really wanted me to go, but I just had a lot to do, and I told them that I would go out with them the next weekend. So they left without me, and they met some of our other friends at one of the many bars just off of campus. I was upstairs in my bedroom studying, and I knew that I would be up late anyways with my work, so I had told my friends that if they needed rides, I would be able to drive them. As the night went on, I got a Snapchat from my roommate Ashley at probably about 10 o'clock. She said that there was some creepy guy following her around the bar. I asked her if she wanted to leave, and she said that she did not want to go yet, so I kept working. I didn't hear from her for several more hours, but a little after midnight, she called me. I picked up the phone, and right away Ashley seemed to be a little bit drunk. However, she said that they were at a different bar now, and the same man was still following her around. She said that he was really creepy, and asked if I could give her a ride home now. I said yes, and then we hung up, and I left to go to the bar. was maybe a 5-minute drive and was pretty close by. The bar that Ashley was at now was in downtown of the small city our college was located in. I parked my car on the side of the road up the street and then went inside the bar. It was very busy with it being a weekend and stuff. I looked around trying to find my friends. I saw some people that I knew, but not the specific friends that I was looking for. But after making my way in a little bit, I was finally able to see one of my roommates. However, it wasn't Ashley. This was Molly, and I asked her if she knew where Ashley was. Molly said that Ashley had left. She also mentioned that some creepy guy kept staring at her and stuff. I asked her if she knew where Ashley had gone, but she said no. So I then tried calling Ashley, but she didn't pick up the phone. I was a little bit worried because I didn't know where she was, especially with the fact that some creepy guy seemed to be following her around. I tried calling her again, as well as texting her, but she didn't respond right away, so I left the bar to try to look for her. I thought that maybe she went to another bar that we would go to sometimes. There were about 4 or 5 that we often went to in the city, but I really didn't know. I left the bar and then walked down the sidewalk at first, and I didn't see her. There were not many people out on the sidewalks, so I started walking down one just looking around. I tried calling her again, but she still didn't answer. I remember that I turned a corner and started going down another sidewalk. I was walking very quickly and going towards another bar, but I was also going in the direction of where we lived. There was also a slim chance that maybe she tried walking back home. It would take probably 30 or 40 minutes to walk back to our house, but it was possible. So after going about another block in that direction, I actually saw her. She was way up ahead, and I noticed that walking behind her a ways was a man. I went faster, and I basically started jogging. When I got within a close enough distance, I started yelling her name. She heard it and turned around. When she did, the man stopped and turned around as well. After that, he started walking down a different street. I ran over to Ashley and I told her that I would give her a ride. We started walking back to my car. On the way back, though, the man returned. He started trailing us, sort of a far ways back, but was still there. Ashley said that he had been following her all night to multiple different bars. We walked quickly and were able to make it back to the street my car was on. After getting inside, I drove Ashley home, and then I went back to pick everybody else up and give them a ride. Ashley said that her phone had died, so she left the bar to walk home because she couldn't contact anyone. I'm really glad that I was able to find her. The guy seemed really determined to follow her wherever she went. I'm not sure what would have happened if Ashley had tried to walk the whole way home. I'm a female, and I used to work at a bar as a bartender several years ago. I did it for about a year, and I worked at a place that would often get really busy. There were a lot of regulars that would come in as well. I got to know some of the usual customers, and overall, I enjoyed the job. Towards the end of my time working there, an event took place though that ultimately made me quit. It all started a few weeks prior to the event. Like I mentioned before, after working there for a while, I picked up on many regular customers. I would recognize faces and talk to some of the customers that would sit at the bar. There was one guy that I noticed who would come in a lot. I'm not sure of the first time that he was there, but I know that he started coming in very frequently. He didn't say anything to me the first few times. I know that because I remember asking him what he wanted, but he just shook his head. He was never with anybody else, so he would just sit at the end of the bar by himself. I also started to notice that he was often just staring at me. This was not a big deal, until after noticing him several times over the course of a few weeks, and he did start talking to me. He started to sort of hit on me in a pretty creepy way. I was not too bothered though, but we started getting complaints from other customers as well. Apparently, he had made some other people in the bar uncomfortable several times by staring at them or talking to them and apparently saying creepy things. I know that he got asked to leave the bar at least once, maybe twice, and he did leave, so I figured that he was just a creepy guy. One night, he came in again and was sitting at the end of the bar. I noticed him staring at me once more, but this time, he waved me over. I walked over to him, and I just remember him asking me to come over to his place when I got off or something like that. I said no, and when the guy cursed at me after that, I told him to leave. He got up and left the bar at that point. Then I went back to work. That did not seem like a very unusual event given the guy's track record. I remember even thinking that we should probably ban the guy or something. He rarely, if ever, bought anything, and he only seemed to cause problems. But for the rest of my shift, I didn't see him. I got off later that night when we closed. After leaving the bar, I was able to walk home from work, so I started going back. I had an apartment just a few blocks away, and it would take me maybe about 10 minutes. Things were very quiet now, and when I got back to my apartment building, I went up to the second floor where my place was. However, when I entered my hallway, I saw the man from the bar standing right in front of my door. I noticed him about the same time that he saw me. We both looked at each other, and my first reaction was to turn around and go back. I saw the man starting to walk after me. I quickly went to the stairs and went down them to the first floor as fast as I could. By this point, I was running, and after going downstairs, I sprinted right out of the building. When I got outside, though, I realized that the man did not follow me out. I felt better, but I also realized that he was probably just going to stay in front of my apartment door, knowing that I would have to return because I lived there. I did not know how this guy even knew where I lived. I started walking down the sidewalk back towards the bar. It was closed now, but I wasn't really sure where else to go. After calming down, though, and coming to my senses, I called the police and told them about what happened. They said they would send an officer to come to my apartment. So I walked around the quiet streets waiting for a while. When the police officer got there, we went into my apartment building. After getting to my floor, we saw that the man was still there. When he noticed us, though, he started walking away. The officer told him to stop, and the guy did. I remember the guy telling the police officer that he was trying to go to his friends. He claimed that it was an honest mistake and he must have been at the wrong door. But when he was asked what his friend's name was, he said he couldn't remember. The guy ended up getting told that he had to leave and not come back, so he did. I was then able to get inside of my apartment, but I was really worried that the man would return. He must have followed me home without me knowing at one point. I don't know how else he would have known my address. The next time I was at work, I told my boss about it, and he agreed to ban the guy from the bar. Apparently, he came in one time that I was not working, and they banned him. So luckily for me, I did not see him for the rest of the time that I worked there. Still, I decided to get another job a short time later. I also moved out of my apartment when the lease was up, and moved to a different one. So hopefully, I never see that creepy guy again. This happened last fall. I went to a local bar to watch a football game with my friend Garrett. There was a big game that we wanted to see, and I went to the bar and met him there. The bar was very crowded with lots of other people, probably there to watch the game as well. We were luckily able to get an open place to sit at a table. Garrett and I ordered some food, and we were watching the game and talking. I remember that my wallet fell out of my pocket at one point, so I put it on the table. And we were at this round table, and Garrett and I had positioned our chairs to get a good view of the game. So because of this, I wasn't really paying the greatest attention to my wallet. And in the crowded bar, a guy came up and tried to steal it. Luckily, I noticed just in time. The guy, who was kind of skinny but had a lot of tattoos, came over, and I sensed him just standing next to our table. When I turned around, I saw him holding my wallet. After noticing me, he dropped it, and the guy quickly walked away. I knew that he didn't work there or anything, and he didn't offer any kind of explanation. I yelled at him asking what he was doing, but he didn't answer and just kept going away. The guy quickly disappeared into the crowd of people standing around by the bar. I put my wallet back in my pocket and made sure that it wouldn't fall out. The guy must have seen my wallet sitting there and that Garrett and I were facing the other direction. Still, I could tell that he was standing near us before he tried to take it. A little while later, though, maybe 30 minutes or so, the guy came back. He was just standing around by us again. I looked over and saw him just by our table. I asked him what he wanted. The guy just gave me a dirty look and then sort of walked away. He was definitely very suspicious. A while after that, I did notice the guy standing a ways away and looking at me. He was still giving me a dirty look. I did my best to just ignore him after that. Although if he did decide to come back over to us, I was going to give him a piece of my mind, but he didn't. A while later, the game ended, and many of the people started to leave the bar. Garrett and I were going to leave and go our separate ways. We walked out, and there was the parking lot for the bar to the side of it. When we walked out there, I noticed the same guy again. He was standing right outside of my car next to it. When Garrett and I saw him, we had a bad feeling. I didn't know what this guy's plans were. I was parked kind of in the back corner of the parking lot, and I just didn't want to go near the guy. Instead, I went to Garrett's car with him. I sat inside Garrett's car and we talked about the situation. We were hoping that the man would just leave, and from where we were, we could not see my vehicle. So eventually, I decided that I would just go walk over and ask the guy to leave if he was still there. If he chose to try to fight me or something, then whatever. So I got out of Garrett's car and walked over to mine. When I did not see the guy. It seemed as though he had actually left. I went to my driver's door and started to open it. That's when I just heard the sound of somebody approaching. I quickly shut the door and locked it, and then saw the man arrive at my driver's window. He tried opening my door and entering my car, and when it wouldn't open, he started banging on the windows. I quickly backed out and then left, leaving him standing in the parking lot. I went home and called Garrett and told him all about it. That was one of my craziest bar moments for sure. I don't know who that guy even was, and I don't know why he kept messing with me. I'm a former bartender. I used to be one of the main bartenders at this smaller place on a corner. It was at the edge of the city, and I really enjoyed working there. The bar was pretty cool and had lots of fun pictures on the wall and stuff. So one night, I was all by myself. It was a quiet night, and we had just got a few people. As it got later, I was the only person inside the entire bar. But then, a man soon entered. He was wearing this mask over his head. It was either of a celebrity who I didn't know or just a random person, but I didn't recognize it, and it was basically a full fake head mask. This was a creepy enough sight with it not being any time near Halloween and the man walking in alone. The guy didn't say anything and walked up to one of the stools at the bar. I went over to him and asked what he would like to drink. The guy did not respond to me. I asked him what's up with the mask. He still didn't say anything back to me. I was confused about it and also kind of creeped out as well. After some awkward silence, the man just got up and walked out of the bar just like that. I'm not going to lie, I was glad that he was gone, but I was still wondering what on earth that was all about. The bar was quiet for a little while until a group of people came in. It was about 5 or 6 people who seemed to all be in a friend group. They came in and sat down together at the bar and ordered some drinks. The group was very nice and friendly, and as I was getting them drinks, we were all talking and stuff. Sometime as I was getting them drinks and stuff, I remember I looked up and the masked man was back. He must have entered when I was making a drink or something, because I hadn't noticed him coming in. He sat at the far end of the bar now. Once again, I had a bad feeling about him being here. The others at the bar noticed him too, but didn't say anything. Then the guy randomly got up and walked out again. The whole thing was pretty strange. The group of friends stayed for a while longer and then all left. After them, we didn't get any more customers for the night. A while after that, it was time for closing, so I got up and locked the doors. I went to do some final things before I would leave for the night. I was turning off lights from signs and stuff and doing a little cleaning. During this time, the masked man returned again. He did not come inside, but he tried to. When he couldn't get in the building, he just stood there, looking at me through the window. I did my best to ignore him, and I went out of his sight for a while. When I came back, he was finally gone. When I left that night, I was worried that I would see him again, but luckily I didn't. I was able to make it back home okay. And after that, I never saw the guy again. It was really weird though, and I still wonder about it sometimes.